Hi, I'm doing the summary questions for Unit PC Activity 3. So for number 1, I have written down that the wind will blow towards the west side with the low pressure. As we saw in an earlier experiment when we were measuring the temperature and pressure of the flask, um, the teacher told us that if he placed a ribbon of tissue nearby, it would blow away because when the pressure was higher, that's when the temperature was hotter, or when he first placed it, when he opened it, it would blow away. So we saw that with the higher pressure, the more force it has to push away the piece of tissue. So the east side has the higher pressure and thus will push the wind away, causing it to blow towards the west side. For number 2, the temperature of a container affects the speed of the particles, how often the particles collide, and how intense each particle collides into each other. The hotter container, which is container A, has particles moving at a much faster rate and collide with each other more constantly, where container B is colder and has the particles move at a slower speed and collide with each other less often. Temperature behave in the same manner as the average speed of the particles and the strength of each particle and the strength that each particle collide into each other. From this information, I conclude that container A has more particles. Number 3, this is the macro nano table. So as we see that the propane tank's gas pressure increased because it was placed in the sun, and the tank itself heats up, causing the temperature to increase, which is why we have the increased arrow over here. Since the temperature itself increases, we also know that the average speed of particles and oomph of particles of collision behave in the same manner as temperature, so they will increase. That's why I have a arrow pointing upwards with them as well. The volume to me does not seem affected in this scenario because it's just a propane tank. And since the temperature heats up, the amount of collisions increase and the speed of particles increase. And since we know the oomph of collision will increase and the number of collisions will increase, you multiply those together and you can find the pressure, so that's why the pressure must increase as well. Due to many other things acting in the same manner, we can use this table in the future with different relationships to figure out what increases and what decreases. So for number 4, we have the 2 cups again with the water. So this is with the water right off of the heat, about to go into the bowl of ice water. And this is when it is in the water already, after it came from the heat, when the force caused it to break or to bend in half. When the can is right out of the hot water, the air particles are moving around at a faster rate and bumping into each other often. So that is why I drew the particles with arrows pointing. I tried to show that in the first diagram with them going in the can that they were moving at a rapid pace. I drew them with arrows in the can that's bent because they're still moving at a rapid pace, but they just start to slow down as the temperature of the can itself and the bowl of ice water starts to decrease. And those are my Unit PC Activity 3 summary questions.